Welcome to the Talk Chicken to Me podcast. I'm Kyle, and this is my co-host, Christina.
Hi.
And today, we are going to be talking about, the normal stuff, chickens. So we're going to start with my co-host here, Christina, and we're going to talk about how she started with chickens and, just kind of get the ball rolling. And, so how did you start with chickens?
Well, kind of just like you did. I planned on, me and my husband, we planned on 3 to 4 chickens.
Mm-hmm.
That was before we went to the store and we found out there is no 3 to 4 chickens.
Yeah.
There is a minimum of 6. So that went out the door. Chicken math hit us immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So 3 to 4 turned to 6.
Yeah.
And we got Royal King. And my friend told me, I thought, we can't do chickens. We can't do chickens. I don't have a coop. I don't have this. And then she's like, well, you do know they don't need a coop. And you know that you got to keep them inside for a while. And I'm like, really? You don't need it? Really? So I got that starter kit. The little,
with all the stuff in it. Everything you need for babies.
Yeah, like a playpen. Like it looks like a play yard and all that. So I got that, and I got my first 6 chickens, and every single one of the breeds was wrong. I thought I got this. I thought none of them were right.
Good at doing.
I know. So then we had 6 chickens, and I literally did not tell my husband. He came home, and I'm like, come here. And there they were. And he wasn't upset. He wasn't anything. And then 2 weeks later, because I kept telling my friend, goes, now, I really wanted Silkies. I really wanted a Silkie.
Yeah.
And my friend said, it's really hard to integrate chickens. So if you want them, you want to get them young.
Yes.
So that's when I started looking at Craigslist to find a Silkie something. And I got a Silkie. And of course, you can't have them by themselves. So you had to get another chicken to go with the Silkie.
Yeah.
So 3 to 4 chickens went to 6 to 8.
Yes, very quickly.
In 2 weeks' time.
Uh-huh.
So then we went to Family Farm, and you know what happens when you go to the store?
Oh my gosh, yes. The temptation.
What happens? And they just happen to have Polish.
Oh, yeah.
Polish. And again, talking to my friend, the chicken enabler, talking to her, I'm like, oh, I want one so bad, but I don't want 6. She goes, oh, well, you could just get 6 and then just sell the others. And I'm looking at them, I'm looking at their cute little poof. I'm like, there's no way I'm going to sell.
Yes.
There's no way I'm going to sell any. If I get them, I'm keeping them all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when it started with the Polish.
Yeah.
So 3 to 4 chickens went to 6 to 8 to, wait a minute, let's do chicken math again, to 14 and just stop.
Mine was pretty quick as well. But mine wasn't a week's time. Mine was wanted 6, boom in the store, 22 plus 2 turkeys. So that was what I had going on. It was very instant that I knew I was going to have a lot of chickens. And I'm at about 120 now. So, yeah.
120?
Oh, yeah. We haven't even really talked about how many I've had. Because
I stopped counting.
Oh, yeah. After 80, I started to not.
After 80?
Yes. I really started to not think about how many I had after them because I started to realize it's an addiction. So
I don't know. If we know how many we have to be accounted for that. Like when people tell, I'm like,
enough.
Enough. A lot. That's it. That's all I say. It's a lot. So
yeah,
we have a lot of chickens.
So how many do you have? About?
Because it's ever changing. I would say at least 50.
Mm-hmm.
At least.
Yeah, I've been over a couple times. You've got a decent amount for sure.
I don't know, but it doesn't seem like you've had that many out there.
Well, that's the crazy thing. It doesn't seem like it, but then once you start growing out chicks and start counting out baby chicks, you're like, oh crap, I have the same amount of chicks inside as I have outside.
Oh, so I don't even know how many's inside.
Yes, because my last batch of chicks I was growing out, I had 4 or 5 different bins that were growing out to go outside because I had my show cochins and then the colored egg flock and then some of my grow outs from breeding that I'm working on, Buff Brahmas. And I wasn't planning on growing out the Buff Brahmas, but they didn't sell amazing. So, yeah, which is odd because it seems like everybody loves the Buff Brahmas, but they don't really buy the chicks. But Yeah, so I got a lot outside. And speaking of poultry, I guess, we will talk about how you have more than just chickens.
Yes, I do.
So what do you have other than chickens?
I have ducks and I have geese.
So what do you think the differences are between a duck, a chicken, and a goose?
Oh Lord.
So we'll do chickens and ducks first, and then you'll
Okay.
do ducks versus geese.
Okay. Well, I don't know. They're a lot alike, but I just don't think the difference is ducks. I really don't think they can be kept in pens or like runs like we can with chickens,
like breeding pens type thing.
Yeah, because like when I had to keep them in a run and I couldn't free range them, I would have only had a couple. I mean, I think they need, because of the water. You need to have a pool. You need, if you don't have a pond and you don't have that, you need to have a baby pool. Mm-hmm. And like I would have only kept maybe 5, 6. I just don't think like chickens they can be kept enclosed.
Yes.
I really think they need that space just because of the water. You just need a lot more space. But I do know there are people that do keep them in runs and stuff. And maybe call ducks would be okay.
That's like a bantam version.
Yeah, and they don't really run. I don't know. They don't forage as much as ducks.
Like runner ducks, they're known to like clear bugs out of whole fields.
Yeah.
So like imagine putting them in like a little 4x6 foot run. They're not going to be very happy.
No. And I know that geese are not like that either. They also, if they get bored, they will pick and eat feathers off others. And so I just found out about that. I'm like, oh gosh, I'm glad because mine have the whole yard to run, so they don't get bored like that, but a lot of times. And so I just don't think, I think chickens, you're able to keep them in a run, a big run, and they can be happy. I just don't think ducks can. And then them also needing a good amount of water. Like they can't just drink out of waters. They got to have something that their whole bill can go in because that's how they flush out. They can't have the little waters. They can't have the little, they have to have something that is deep enough, at least 3 inches for their whole bill.
Yeah.
So they have different requirements on that. I mean, feed can be the same. It's different when they're younger. They need niacin, so they need a duck feed. They can't just have like chick starter because they need niacin. And they have some requirements, but once they get older, layer feed, all flock is good for all of them.
Yeah.
And then geese are just different. They're more like dogs. They have more of a personality. Mm-hmm. I think they interact with you more, but they're big.
Yeah.
And they need a lot of space too. You cannot keep them enclosed. I mean, I bet there are people, but I just don't think for them to have it would be great if I could free range everything, but I can't. Yeah. But I really think ducks, geese, and larger poultry. I mean, chickens are pretty small bodied.
Yes.
But larger poultry, like anything, turkeys, things like that, they need more room to run because they're just bigger, you know?
And turkeys can actually, I heard this off a YouTube video, don't take it as facts, but I heard that they can survive off of like 80% grass.
Yeah, so
and like just the land around them.
Yeah.
So they really don't need a ton of feed, but they need like, unless it's like meat turkeys, obviously, because they're going to go through tons of feed.
Yeah.
But they can survive off mostly grass, like if you put them in a tractor and just go around the field or yard or whatever.
Well, they actually have geese. They call them, or they term them weeder geese because that's what they're pretty much there to clear the fields.
Yeah.
And kind of like the goat of the poultry world, that's what geese are.
Yes. So. But one of the reasons I have refrained from now with getting ducks or whatever is because I don't really have the means to like free range anything. My yard is not set up good enough to just free range everything because we've got like scrap metal and stuff in the back and I don't want anybody cutting their feet. Mm-hmm. And also we have 2 dogs. One is an Australian Shepherd and one is a Husky. The Australian Shepherd, great with chickens. She's kind of like, she just likes to herd them. Mm. She likes to move them around, which can very much stress out the birds. And I know that. So they can't be free ranged with her. But if I need to like catch chickens, if one gets out, it is perfect to have her around. But my Husky, she is on a chain constantly because she has killed countless amount of birds. And I just can't have that happen
Well,
all
see,
the time.
That's why, I mean, for the longest time, we couldn't because our dachshund was killing. And, it was killing ducks. It was chickens if they flew out of the run. He would get, and it wasn't until we got a rooster were we able to free range.
Yes.
That was the only way, was that him keeping the dog at bay. And now the dog, I mean, they all live and they're fine together now.
Yeah.
But it's only because of the rooster. That's
Mhm.
it.
And it's crazy how such a tiny dog can take out a chicken.
I know. It's a dachshund.
Yeah. We used to have a dog, and her name was Peanut. She was maybe like the size of like one of those dogs or whatever. But she was little. But she was a killer through and through. She taught our huskies how to kill. Like, our huskies at first were okay with the chickens. She was the one who would get in and kill them. And she was like the mother to the two huskies.
Oh.
And she taught them how to kill. And they're smart about it. So, like, there's no way of, like, fixing it. And the huskies are like 9 years old. So, like, I don't know. It's kind of like the...
You can't teach an old dog new tricks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what it is.
Mm-hmm.
So... we'll talk more about turkeys since we talked about how geese are different and ducks not. So I have 4 turkeys. I have 2 blue slates and 1 bourbon red and then 1 mystery turkey. It's gray like a blue slate but has red on its tail. Whole thing that I'm trying to figure out right now. But
bourbon?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I can't really tell what it is yet. So I've been trying to. I'm probably gonna have to join a Facebook group about turkeys and.
You haven't yet?
No, I haven't yet. I have literally everything chickens. Okay. It's like I'm in like every coach in every group for anything chickens. I go through every breed, everything. But basically, I think of turkeys as just massive, dumb chickens. That is basically what they are. Now, turkeys can also be smart at the same time. Yes. That's the hard thing. It's like, it's kind of the same with chickens. They're like so dumb yet so smart at the same time. Mm-hmm. Like, the good thing about turkeys is they're a lot easier to get them like friendly with you because you stick your hand down in the brooder one time and they're like, ooh, food. And they're out your hand.
Way friendlier. Because Sarah had the meat chicken, or no, not meat chicken, but meat turkeys. Yeah. And they were friendly right off the bat. Where chickens tend to run from you, turkeys are like, oh, hey.
They're more curious than chickens are.
And they come to you instead of away from you. So they were different right off the bat. I was really surprised at how turkeys are different.
Because chickens are very big on like, oh no, there's a predator. We
Constant,
gotta run yes. Unless you spend good time when they're babies and like train them well, they are not going to be very friendly with you. No. But when it comes to turkeys, it's more of like, it might be that they know they're a little bigger and they can handle a little more. They're like, what is that? Let me figure out what it is.
Well, how do aerial predators get turkeys? I have a lot of feeling that chickens, for us, always coming down because they're so little. And that's how they're prey. You know, predators get them from over top. Where I think turkeys, I mean, how many aerial predators take out a turkey? Can you imagine it?
Yes, a turkey being carried off by
a hawk. I mean, I just I'm thinking that their predators are not naturally where chickens, most of their predators are aerial predators. Yes. And we're always getting the chickens, picking them up like a prey, you know? So that's what I'm thinking.
Because it always makes me, every time I mess with baby chicks in an overhead brooder, I always think of like Toy Story when it's the...
Oh, Lord.
And like they're terrified. Yes. And it's just like your hands going in to grab them, and everybody's like screaming and running around. Like a horror movie almost.
Really?
Like imagine if you were down in the box and there's just like a giant hand coming down to grab one of you. That would be terrifying.
I mean, imagine you're just walking around and then all of a sudden you're plucked. I mean, yes. I mean, that's gotta be. So that's why I try to come up this way to or let them get on your hand and stuff instead of this way. You know what I mean? I mean, if you think about it.
And that's what I love about the rabbit cages because they have the top opening for like if you want to do something from the top, but I use the side that folds down, and I'll just stick my hand in straight like level with them, and they're way calmer in coming in to get feed out of your hands and everything. So that's what I like about the rabbit cages.
I like the rabbit cages. I do. They're great birders.
So what are your favorite breeds of chickens? I know, like, you like a lot. But
there's one breed that we both love the same. We both love the Polish.
Yes, we do.
Yeah. Polish, I would have to say, well, I think they're my number one fancy bird. They're definitely not my egg layer favorite.
Yeah.
And I really don't know what I would say. I'd have to say the olive egger is my favorite laying bird. Just because I love it. But I don't know. That's a hard pick on egg laying. Because you kind of have to break that down.
Yes.
I mean, the Polish are my favorite. Just looking at them, their quirkiness, they're my favorite. That's what I breed. That's my favorite fancy bird.
Uh-huh.
But egg laying, it's got to be.
Because it comes down to way more than just like, ooh, pretty chicken. It's like, how many eggs do they lay? Mm-hmm. How do they lay in the winter? Do they lay it, like, are they good consistently?
And my Polish didn't lay in the winter at all. Did yours seem to lay in the winter?
Ours cut off for a solid few months in the winter. That is that's one thing about Polish that I've learned is that they
do that
when they cut off, they
that's it.
Really cut off for a while.
It's like months.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so the Polish don't lay, the Silkies don't lay, so people are just like, egg layers, but you've got to have. I mean, my olive eggers and my Easter eggers laid during the winter. They weren't as great, so I'd have to say those are my. And then you can get them in all different colors.
Yes.
And I mean, people look down on like Easter eggers or mixed birds, but they're the prettiest.
Yes.
And they're the best egg layers.
They always end up looking the coolest. I had some mixed from my flock that I've raised up, and they ended up being hens, and they were some of the coolest looking chickens I've ever seen.
Your turkey.
Yes.
And it's a mix, and it is the prettiest.
So if you guys don't know, I have a naked neck that came from a cross between an Andalusian, a blue Andalusian, and just a normal, like, Rhode Island red, Isobrown type colored naked neck hen. And that crossing made a whole blue naked neck. And it is the coolest looking thing ever. Yeah. It has like a little cap on its head, the naked neck, and there's just a blue chicken. It's really awesome.
Oh, I was amazed because I have her sister, and Sarah has another sibling, and hers is more red and silver, so you can see the inflation in it.
Yeah.
Mine's just...
It's crazy the in-between, because it's like full blue in between, and then yours is full like
the
red.
mom. Yeah. It's like more of a gold and brown, and more looks like that.
Yes.
But they both have the cap. They mine just, I saw it this morning, is getting a little bit of a comb. That's it.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. But your blue, I mean, some of the mixes are just, I mean, because I have some olive egger, the babies of my olive eggers right now in a brooder. And I'm just like, oh, they're so pretty.
Yes.
I
love the blues. I love splashes. I love all the, ermines, like the Americanas and stuff. Their coloring is very cool to look at. Plus, they're like, you get fun eggs from some of them, like the ermine Americanas and stuff.
Green, all the babies of my olive eggers and all that, I'm getting speckles now. I mean, when you get into your multi-generation and all that, you get the cool colors, the cool colored eggs. I'm seeing 2-3 generations now. Yeah. And some of mine are related to some of yours, because I got like the Cochin still in there, and they're passing the feathered feet down. We're like on the 3rd generation, and still I'm like, oh, I know who your daddy is.
Yes.
We gotta play Who's Your Daddy and Who's Your Mama. That's the kind of fun thing when you do the mixes.
Yes.
Is you gotta figure out who is who. And people look down on them, but they're really the best.
Yeah, that's the sad thing, though. Is like, they're so good and they're so worth it. Mm-hmm. Like, just because a post says barnyard mix doesn't mean a bad thing. It doesn't mean that the chickens aren't going to be good or anything. Because some of my best egg layers and the prettiest eggs came from barnyard mixes. Mm-hmm. Like, I really, really love the barnyard mixes. Now, I'm trying to breed specific breeds. So at the moment, I don't do barnyard mixes, but I do have an egg-laying flock with a rooster that I could hatch, which I can't raise out a ton of barnyard mixes because nobody likes them, and you have to like figure out ways to sell them, which we could go into a whole different thing.
Yeah.
It's a whole marketing strategy.
Yeah.
When you go into selling chickens, because like if you're like Barnyard Mixed Chicks, PM me.
Yeah.
People are not going to just jump on that. Like if you said Andalusian cross chicks, like with that naked neck.
I do Easter eggers. Easter eggers, that works.
Yes.
But that's because the hatcheries are turning Easter eggers into a whole breed. That whole name. And it's really just a mix. That's it. But if you think how breeds came along, they came along as a mix.
Yes.
I mean, like satin silkies. Where did they come from? The Cochin and the silky mix. But now people are looking at it as it's a breed.
Yeah.
They're not calling it, I mean, let's call it what it is. When you say Barnyard Mix, you're literally saying mutt of the world.
Yes.
But look at all the mutts now in the dog world that are breeds or like puddles.
Yeah.
You know, same thing.
Labradoodles.
Yes.
Those are big.
I know.
And they're just a mutt.
That's
really.
it. That's all.
But a mutt with a fancy name.
Yes. So if we change the name, all of a sudden people like Easter eggers, olive eggers. I mean, olive eggers are getting to be quite a thing. I mean, that's what I sell. I mean, no, not as big as the heritage breeds or not as big as that, but they still, I mean, people are interested. I mean,
and with the rainbow baskets too. Like, honestly, how you get the multi-generational olive eggers, like, you can call it an F2, F3, F4 olive egger, which is like the generation, how old it is. It's still just a mutt between a blue egg layer and a brown egg layer.
Yeah.
After multiple generations.
Yeah.
So technically, like, if we were being very like crazy about it, all like rainbow eggs are mutts. They're all barnyard mixes.
Yeah.
But
except you know what the mixes are.
Yes.
And you turn them into a breed. That's literally, we're just renaming it.
Mm-hmm.
And just renaming it and marketing changes everything. People are like, oh, you know.
Yeah, because they think it's a whole new thing. Mm-hmm. When really it's
a designer chicken.
Yes.
That's it. That's what people like and that's what people want, you know, is the designer chicken, something special. They don't want to say, oh, I don't know what I have. Mm-hmm. It's just a mix.
Yeah.
They want to be able to say what they have. And I think that's part of it.
Mm-hmm. And another thing with the whole marketing thing is like, I've kind of come to understand it because when I had Sarama shipped in from Florida, which cost like $200 something, it was expensive for 4 birds because I needed 2 boxes. That's like double shipping and stuff. So it was a lot.
And Saramas are expensive.
Yes, Sarama for such a tiny chicken, they are crazy. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, she basically gave me 2 roosters free. And then sold me the hen and the rooster pair for like $200, which that's like $100 a bird. Yes, very much ouch. But when it comes to Saramas, you can make that money back with if you just hatch out 1 batch of chicks, boom, money's made. Mm-hmm. So basically, she was telling me the colors because she wanted to send me 2 surprise roosters, and I got those, and I was like, "What are these?" She's like, "One's a blue." And then one was like, she said something about like lemon something. And I was like, ooh, that's interesting. But after a little bit of research, she just renamed yellow leakage as like lemon kiss. Oh. So like, technically you can go around certain defects. Yes. Like
instead of leakage, you call it kiss. Oh, wow.
Yeah, because it was that's like
brilliant.
A white. It was interesting colored. It was almost like Colombian-ish.
Yeah.
If you know what that means. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
But then it had like yellows in a few spots. And she called it lemon kissed something. I don't remember exactly.
Modeled. I mean, just coming up with a descriptive of a defect could turn it into a selling.
Yes.
Wow, that's actually brilliant.
Also, technically, if we get into it, Polish, you're selling defects. Because their head is vaulted.
Well, Silkies too.
Yes, which a lot of like...
But that's how you get the poof.
Yes, a lot of the activist people do not like the Polish and Silkies for people to continue to breed because of the vaulted skull, because you're just kind of just worsening their condition, I guess.
Yeah.
Which...
Yeah, because people breed the bigger the fluff, the more That's it.
which in turn increases the amount of vaulting in the skull. And then after generations and generations, it's probably going to be a pretty big hole there for because I've had a Polish that jumped and hit its head barely, and it ended up dying.
Oh, yeah.
So, because I had a few roosters that I was trying to choose from, and I put them in a little TSC coop with, out in the run, there's a roost pole on it. I don't really know how to explain it, but they would jump on there, and then they jump in and stuff, and it ended up trying to jump into the opening for the coop, and it hit its head on the pole, and it just fell over and died instantly. I've never had that happen. Chickens have hit their heads before. I've seen chickens full on face plant into the ground, jumping off of roost poles and stuff. But the Polish are just a whole different thing.
Yeah.
Which, when it comes to designer breeds, it's kind of like with dogs and stuff.
Yeah.
How they breed so far, and it's a little bit sad how far they've come. With certain ones.
Pugs,
because it's really you're just making them more unhealthy. Because my whole goal is I want to have beautiful birds, but I also want to have healthy.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell birds that have a high chance of dying when they hatch. Yes.
Yeah.
All of that. So yeah, I'm trying my best to breed for health in my flock. And
but when you're breeding the specialty ones,
yes, it's kind of I guess technically that you're keeping the thing going, but also at the same time, I love my Polish. I can't just.
I know. They are hardy. The larger ones are.
Yeah.
I've had mine going on 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
You've had Earl. How
I've had him probably a year or so.
Yeah. I don't know. I guess we could take care of them as best as we can. And all that. Are they going to live 7-8 years? I don't know.
I've never looked up the lifespan of a Polish chicken, honestly. Or Silkies, yeah. I have no clue. But they're so cool that they draw so many people in. Yeah. So they're just going to continue to breed. So
I know. People are not going to stop.
Yeah.
So is it a good thing? I don't know.
I don't know. But it's kind of hard to. Yeah. It's kind of hard to tell.
You say no to the poof.
I know, that's the hard thing.
And the quirkiness. They're so quirky. You know that. The Polish are.
Yes.
The Silkies are. They're quirky.
They're each their own specific personality.
Oh, yeah.
They're very much so that. Because you have Wednesday, your white-crested black hen. And you can tell us a few stories about how she is. Because she's a blast, like my Earl, which is a white-crested black Polish rooster. And he is a lot of fun, too. But you tell your stories about Wednesday first.
Oh, well, Wednesday. Well, she's on TikTok, Carlos.
Uh-huh.
Polish, they have quite a personality, and people have built, Carlos and on TikTok, and then
their whole TikTok off of this one.
I know. Just that one. Every day she's always finding. The amount of stories she has on that chicken. And Wednesday, as she's actually getting older, I'm having less and less stories of her because she's actually kind of becoming a normal chicken. But
she's maturing mentally, sadly.
I miss the stupidity a little bit, but then again, I'm like, oh, okay, maybe she'll live longer, not being so stupid. But Polish, when I used to let them free range, Polish are not meant to free range. They are not meant to free range. But Wednesday did some of the same things that Carlos did. I would find her just standing in the corner, just standing there in the corner between the fence and the shed. She just, you would put a kid in a corner, you'd put their nose in a corner, that's what she did.
And she did it by herself, and she was just, enjoying it in the corner.
I was just standing there, I'm like, what goes through their heads? I don't know.
Nothing, that's what it is, nothing.
I know, I have, 10 Polish over there right now, and she's the only one. None of the others do it. But I would find her she just was such a loner, because but now she's become more. Well, she's the rooster's main chick now. So I don't know if that, and now egg laying, she's just kind of not the loner anymore. She's matured and stuff, but just the amount. But she's still the friendliest one I have. Mm-hmm. We could all go in and pick her up. My son, you hold her, she goes right on your shoulder, right on your head. She's just. You bring her inside and she acts like she's always been like a house chicken. She lays on the floor, stretches out, sunbathes on a towel. I mean, she's different. She is not like other chickens.
And going back to the whole, she just started egg laying.
Yeah.
I know you have told me before that with your Polish, once they start egg laying, they get more docile. And they calm down because the teenage stages
with Polish.
Oh my gosh, it is so tough because like you could have handled them constantly from babies to their teenage stage, and they still act like anytime you go near them, they just
You're gonna kill them.
Yes, like they're about to die, and it's the end of the world. Constantly.
The sky is falling constantly.
Yes.
They just and they're ugly. Are they not?
Yes, they go through big ugly phase.
I mean, they got fluff, they got feathers. I mean, it's the ugly stage. So it's kind of like acne for teenagers.
Yes.
You know, that's what chickens go through when
it's very much like they go through their stages of life, almost like how people do. They get very crazy at teenagers, and then they mellow out as they turn into adults.
Yeah, like I really like the now stuff.
Yes.
Like I can come in and I can pet. I mean, there's some that are more friendlier than others. And, you know, Wednesday, I mean, as soon as I came in this morning, she's jumping up. She's like, she is different. And then some of them, but I can pet them all. I'm like, oh, this is so nice. Because the teenage stage, you come in and like, right, she's going to kill us. And they're just spastic.
Yes.
That's the word. Teenager, spastic, crazy. But you also know when they're coming in that late stage, all of a sudden you see them squat because they're doing the whole rooster thing. You can tell they just are different. You can come in and go to pet them, and they, what do you call that when the that whole stance when
they'll just like fan out their wings and then squat down. It's a submissive thing because they're like
move the rooster down.
Yes, they're like I agree that you are now the head. Almost is what they're thinking.
And they're just totally different. And I'm like, oh, I like this stage, like the teenage stage.
Yes,
they're
stupid. Very, very tough.
Yes,
when it comes to
because you're not getting eggs, and they're not interacting with you. You're not getting that teenage stage is hard because when they're chicks, they're cute and then teenagers, it's just
Yes, but when the crazy thing is how it can differ from each chicken, but it can also differ from like
breed.
Just breed or person to person owning the exact same breed.
Oh, I know, because my Turkin is insane.
Yes.
Insane.
Yes. And I've bought 2 large Falcochens from a hatchery. Both were roosters, and both have tried to kill me and attack me.
You're coaching?
Both of them. The buff and the lavender. Not the ones I got from Nationals. Those 3 were like very calm and gentle, but they were like breed standard.
I've never heard of coaches.
I know, and it's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, if I picked up any hen or anything, he would come right over. But the buff Cochin freaked out even more because he was in with the Blue Andalusian.
That's nuts.
And if I grabbed the Blue Andalusian, it's almost like he would come attack me over the Blue Andalusian more than a hen. Like brotherhood type thing.
Yeah.
Not, I guess. I didn't.
Yeah, that's not typical.
No. Yeah. Very odd.
But silkies can be like, I mean, so you have a breed standard. Like, you can, I mean, it's like standard that they're this way. Like, Cochins are usually calm and docile. Same thing with silkies. But you always get the crazy ones. You always get, you can't ever specifically say they're all, generally, that breed is this way. But there's always the crazy ones.
Like, I've had Leghorns, which are a very flighty breed.
Yes.
That have been... They walk up to me. Well, I have one hen that is outside right now, and she walks up to me all the time.
Oh, really?
She's not, like, freaking out constantly or anything. She's actually very good for a Leghorn. Now, she's not, like, Cochin nice. So I feel like, to an extent, certain breeds are very, like, figured out. Like, Leghorns.
Yeah, generally.
I don't think... Unless
we spent 2 days trying to find that Leghorn. Remember, it got flew out. It took us 2 days to get it out of the woods. So I mean, that's generally how Leghorns are.
Yes.
Most people, if you talk to them, they're like, "Oh gosh, they're flighty. great egg layers, great big eggs, but flighty and crazy. But you
Yes.
always get the one off, like
Yes, you
yours
do.
being nice. So I've had people say with Wyandottes. I have a friend that won't raise Wyandottes. She says their eggs are tiny. They're not great. I'm like,
yeah,
I don't have
because mine aren't very.
Yeah.
Not tiny eggs or anything.
No, and they're good layers. So, but it's funny how people get put off by a breed, or they get it and they have a bad experience and they're done.
Yes.
With a certain breed, and other people are like, okay, I don't know what you're talking about. That's a great breed to have.
Yeah, I like to give breeds a little bit of time when I bring them in. Like Seramas, I've decided I'm done with them because how much extra work they are.
Yeah, I don't know how to do that.
It's not just like, throw a feeder and water her out. Like, they need cleaned, and since they're up inside of a coop and they don't go outside or anything, it's kind of like they need their beaks trimmed because they can't naturally on like rocks scrape it or whatever, and they need nail trims, and they need baths every once in a while because they get poop on their butt and stuff, and they get poop on their feathers because they're longer and it's like near their butt, so they'll like poop, and then if their feathers drag on the ground, they'll drag it through the poop. So you have to wash like feathers, all that kind of stuff. So I have some more hard to deal with breeds. Like the large fowl Cochins, they can't handle heat very well at all. And also they really shouldn't
They're like
touch ground too much.
Of the chicken world.
Yes. Yeah. They are. They shouldn't, I hate to say, they need outside space, but they don't really need to touch the ground because of how much work it would be to clean their feet, because mine have to be in a special run because if they got onto the ground after like a week with the amount of Cochins I have that are growing out and stuff, it'd be all mud, and then that's a whole problem because especially in winter.
Would they be better on rock?
I don't know, I've never had them on rock, but I'm thinking maybe like sand or something, or like pea gravel or something might work, because I was researching about, back to ducks, I guess. I was researching about ducks, and I was thinking I was going to make their whole run
pea
gravel.
Yeah.
Because what you do is you can do like, I would dig down a little bit, have like a wooden built run or whatever, and have it there. And then inside that square, you dig out a little bit, and then you do big rocks, sand, and then pea gravel on top. And then their pool and everything will drain down, and it makes everything so much easier cleaning-wise.
That's what we're going to do with the ducks. Or right around the deck, we're going to put rock and then put their pools on there, because right now our yard is complete mud. There's like no grass because we have a lot more ducks, a lot more pools. You're dumping them. So what we're going to do is rock and then put the pools on the rock. And then you're hoping, because this is year 2 with ducks. Here's hoping that's going to help, because I love my ducks. But our yard it's you've seen it.
And since I can't free range, I was thinking more towards the lines of call duck because of the bantams. And I would only keep like 3 of them for a breeding trio, like a boy and 2 girls. And so they could live happily in a smaller environment.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen people do like the dog kennel things with like hardware cloth and everything around them. And they live fine in a little doghouse with a pool next to it inside of a little kennel.
I think safety-wise, I think call ducks need to be in an enclosed area, because we had the call duck, and something. I just think they're so easily taken by predators.
Yes,
aerial predators. I mean,
hawks and stuff will always go for the smaller,
the easiest. Yes, because everything that's been taken out of our enclosed, fenced-in, privacy fence, it's been the smaller ones. And I really think it's always been the smaller ones. And I think call ducks that's why I think call ducks are best for you, having an enclosed space. I know another friend that has a farm not far from here. Her call ducks, she had them on a pond and everything, but they got taken by turtles and all this stuff. So now she has them in an enclosed space. And I just think call ducks are different than full-size ducks.
I definitely feel like for sure they're a little different. Because it's almost the same with how bantam chickens, you can have kind of double the amount for the same thing.
Yeah.
But not that I'm going to, because then it's the same exact problem. If you have extras that equal the same amount as large ducks, it's like it's still the same problem.
I know. Yeah.
But what other breeds do you own on other than? Okay, go on to the colors of Tolbun or Polish that you have.
Oh, okay.
And then talk about some of your egg-laying breeds that you have in your flock. You don't have to go through all of them, just a little idea of what you
Well, I have the so egg layers, we got the Wyandottes, we got a couple Orpingtons. I got a lot of Wyandottes. But then there's the olive eggers and the different hatcheries. We got different eggers. We got the Starlight Green egger. I've got that. I've got but mostly it's Wyandottes. They're the gold. I don't have the silver yet, but I have a lot of the blue laced Wyandotte like you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I would put them in categories. I've got Wyandottes. I've got Orpingtons. I'm going to have the Turkin as an egg layer. And I've got a Wyandotte. I have a Brahma.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then I have, and the Morans. I'm going to be having more of those. But I have a Moran. And I've got Sapphire Gem. I've got a lot of those. It's hard to think of I do have a Comet. I do, what is it? A Golden Comet. Yeah. I do have that. And let's see, I'm trying to think of all of them. I have a Sex Link.
Okay.
And I have the Brahma. And that's pretty much what my egg layers are. And then with the Polish, I have, they're all different colors.
Yeah, just go into color.
Okay, so I have the blue with a white crest. I have the black with a white crest. I have silver lace. That's the prettiest.
Mm-hmm.
And I did have a buff, but I lost my buff, so I don't have that. And then I have, I don't even know what you'd call Star. She doesn't look like blue with white.
I would just call her khaki. She looks very much so like a khaki.
And she's frizzled.
Yes.
And she's a Bantam. So I have large fowl Polish, which I didn't even know there was. I mean, because they're small. I thought they were all Bantams. I thought Polish were a Bantam breed, but there are even smaller. There's the Bantam. I only have one of those, but I have large fowl. And then I have my specialty. I have my tool buns.
Mm-hmm.
And I have 2 frizzled tool buns, and then I have a smooth tool bun, and then I have my rooster. So that's all the different.
And how would you explain the color of Tolbunt-ish to somebody who has never seen a chicken, or they're listening to the podcast and they don't?
I'd say that it's the Bengal colors. It's, you know what I mean? That's what I say. They're orange, black, and white. And they're more if you have a speckled Sussex, I think it's that same type of, they are speckled.
Yes.
Kind of. They are.
And they have some fully white feathers, right? Some of their feathers are fully white.
Some are more speckled than others, and some are more white than others.
It's not as organized as like a speckled Sussex.
Or
with a Sussex, with a Sussex, the tip of every feather has white on it. And it's not exactly like that with every single.
It almost looks like somebody took paint and flicked it.
Yes.
That's more like, or swirled it, because some of them, it's more of a speckled. Some of them, like Matilda has more white here and more, and then others have more. It just looks like somebody took paint and flicked it. And it's orange, black, and white.
It's a very fun color.
Yeah, it's very pretty.
Which,
and all of them are different. I know.
Yes, definitely. And my favorite color at the moment, because I change pretty much every day, which with chickens, it's pretty much an everyday changing of, like, I wouldn't say like with your Polish. That's not a big I don't like Polish anymore. But you find a new chicken every day that you're like, I have to have it. Or a new color. And currently I am loving chocolate.
Oh, I know.
Chocolate and chocolate cuckoo. Because I have some baby Orpingtons that are growing up right now. Can't wait to breed them, because that's going to be so fun. And they can be sex linked, which means you can tell right when they hatch a boy from a girl. So I'm excited for that.
I know. I like chocolate in every breed.
Yes.
And so does Sarah. I mean, chocolate there's certain colors, like silver lace looks beautiful. I like silver lace in any breed.
Yes.
I do. I don't like gold as much. I do like the gold Polish, but not the white. It's funny how.
I think it's because of the high contrast. Because black and white, it's like, wow.
Yeah.
But then, like, brown and black, they're a little closer on the color spectrum. So you're like, it's not as, like, flashing in your face as, like, the white.
I know, the silver is so stunning.
Yeah.
It is such a stunning contrast. It's very pretty. And I was really surprised when I got my gold laced white. I was like, oh, I don't like that as much.
Yeah.
It's just not as it's just not as appealing.
Yes, like with the blue and splash laced reds, that's a pretty big contrast.
Yes.
Because I mainly
love that.
I mainly have splash lace red, and it's like
blue.
a mahogany red burgundy brown mixture with like almost pretty much white, except there's a few little black speckles in it. But it's the same kind of very high contrast between two colors that it's like, wow. Just looking at it, you're like, oh my gosh, that's so cool looking.
Yeah. What is my favorite? Everybody whose chicken out of my egg layers does everybody like? And you even got them, is the blue lace.
Yeah.
Red, white, that is the one that everybody goes, oh, I want that one.
Yes.
I want that.
Because it stands out so much. It can be in a flock of 50 birds with one blue lace red or one splash lace red, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah, she is so pretty. And she doesn't have a big personality or anything. She doesn't stand out like personality-wise.
Yeah.
But looks-wise, she stands out. And she was one of my very first. I got her from Royal King. And she was my very first, and I still have her. And I'm like, oh yeah, everybody, that's the one chicken somebody's going to steal. It's going to be her.
Yes.
And everybody goes, I want that one. And that's her.
Yes.
And my chocolate would probably be second. You like the chocolate.
I do love the chocolates.
And I did not think, because when you first get a chocolate, what do they look like?
They look
black.
Yeah.
I did not like her. I'm like, she looked like a crow when she was a baby. And I got her from Mount Healthy Hatchery. And she was expensive. The chocolates, because it's such a rare color. You know, in every breed, chocolate. And I don't know why. Why is chocolate so rare?
It doesn't sound like, when you get down into the genetics of it, it's just like diluted black. Like if you took some of the color out of black, it's chocolate. Which, if you guys didn't know that, chocolate is more of like a diluted black kind of thing. It's way more deep genetic wise, but basically just on the surface for you guys to get it, it's like just diluted black, which is like how I usually explain it to everybody. Which sounds pretty like, okay, making your own color is like good luck with, if you have 10 years of life, you've got like good luck. You still could not make that color exactly like with chocolates. It seems simple because it's like, oh, just dilute the black, but you have to figure out what breed would help dilute the black while keeping the body shape of the Orpington and all this stuff. It's a lot of interesting factors that go into making a new color. Like salmon, I've made a post about it where I was wondering how you make salmon. And there's like wheaten and silver in there, and you're like, oh, you just cross those two. And one of the people were like, good luck, even with 10 years. Because it doesn't breed true. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Tulbun. I thought I could just make Tulbun.
Yeah.
Tulbun is hard to find. It is so hard to find. I've driven hours. I drove 2 hours for theirs. I've driven an hour and a half to get my Tulbun chicken. I mean, we had to go all the way to, I mean, it is hard to find, and it's because you can't, it's just not, you throw two chickens together and you get this color. It does not work that way.
And written down on paper, you're like, okay, so I mix like this and this, and boom, you get this with a chance. No. But when it comes down to like genetic factors, each bird has their own certain genetics inside of them. So like this could carry something, this hen could carry something, and this rooster could carry something, and you could get a chick completely different in color. That makes zero sense to your breeding programs and like what you're trying to do. And it's very wild trying to create like your own chicken breed or your own coloring. It's very, very hard.
Well, like the splash.
Yes.
How many generations to get splash? You're trying to do splash now.
Which, if I started a little smarter, because at first I wasn't like that interested in the splash because I had my blacks. Because when you look up splash Polish, they're more white, because none of the online photos have like, because there's like splash Americanas and they are like black feathers and like it looks very, very cool. But when you look up splash Polish, it's like maybe one or two little black specks and it's like white.
It's very faded.
And I'm like, that's not really that exciting when it comes to, because like the whole white and black chicken thing was very boring to me. I had Jersey Giants which they had like a green and purple sheen, so that made up for their coloring.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really don't. But anyway, yeah, back to blue black splash.
Sorry.
You need 2 blues bred together to make blue, black, and splash chicks. So I started off with a black rooster, which Earl is like perfect for improving crests and stuff. And I have 2 blue hens and 3 black girls. So basically, I'm growing out chicks now. I need a blue rooster, which, man, I love collecting roosters. I don't know why. I love roosters more.
I
than
do
anything.
too, but yeah, I can only have so many. I have 5 right now.
You have 5. I have 5 just in one pen. Yes. Which they're all together. Don't worry.
They're beautiful.
Yes.
They are beautiful.
Yes. But I do need one of those blue roosters to breed to one of the blue hens I already have to make blue, black, and splash chicks. And then I can get the little white babies and grow them out and improve the splash. So that's a lot of fun. Because when it first comes out, it might look like the diluted, kind of just like dirty white.
I know, because I have a splash. I have a splash offshore, and that's all it is. It just looks, it's not very, no. But the Polish are that way too, and I'm hoping you can get to where it looks more like an ermine. More of that kind of, or more.
I'm planning a lot on getting a splash from the crossing and breeding it back to Earl to add more black into their genetics.
Yeah, because it looks so diluted. It looks like a white Polish. It's like dirt.
Yes, it's like you rolled it around in dirt and then just said, hey, it's splash. It's like,
no.
And you don't want any like leakage or rusty coloring. So there's a lot going into my breeding for splash, which the good thing is people have throughout the generations set up blue black splash breeding. So it is very easy to do now.
Easy to you.
Well, yes, you have to have the genetics brain.
Yeah.
But all you need is like a blue black and a splash chicken and make those 3. So
I like that.
That's
all you need. It's not that easy.
It really, once you get it figured out, I have charts and stuff. I have a whole folder full of different breeding charts that I found online and stuff.
It's so easy. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's not that easy. But the people that have been doing this for a while, I guess it's easy. I don't know. The olive egg are starting to become easier to me understanding. But at first it's like, I don't know, genetics. That's hard.
One thing for me is like, I researched before I even got chickens about a whole year, just watching videos, reading documents and stuff. And I don't know why, but in my brain, I feel like everybody has this knowledge that I do sometimes. So like, sometimes I'll get aggravated with like my brothers because they're like, just shut up, I don't get it.
Oh, I know.
I'm like, you should understand it's blue, black, and splash genetics.
Oh, no. Even you, when you explain, I'm like, Well, it's like when I was talking to my mom about frizzle.
Yes.
And how you can't breed frizzle to frizzle. You'll get and they're like.
Yeah.
And they start laughing at me, a frazzle, and they're just like, to them. But to me, I'm like, I'm very serious. This is a serious thing. You don't want to, a frazzle. You don't, like, and they're just like, they don't get it. They think it's funny because, and I'm like, I can see how that's kind of funny, but it's serious. You know what I mean?
Yes, I have sat down with my mom a few times and actually wrote down genetics. And she was like, and then the next day, I'm like, so I'm going to breed this genetics with these birds. And she's like, what is that? After the next day, after I just taught her, I'm like, I just taught you this.
I know. I don't know. It takes a while. I'm finally getting the olive, but it's been after, a whole year?
Yeah.
Of trying to understand it. I mean, for you, you're able to, I think your brain works that way. And I don't know, other people's doesn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel like some people have to work a little bit harder for the genetics brain because, I put a lot of work into it and I still don't know a lot. Like, you come to me with some questions and I'm like, what? I don't know.
Yeah.
But then there's people who go down to like, they're like
DNA.
Yes, they'll be like
break it down
E
to
plus
DNA.
D minus type stuff. And I'm like, what is that?
No, there's a woman on TikTok that literally had DNA. Like, she took it down. She does AM Samani. And she's got it down to, like, the markers. I'm like...
It can get real intense.
You could take genetics all the way down to DNA strands. And I'm like... Yeah.
It's a lot when you get into genetics. That could be a whole episode.
Yeah.
But...
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But this has been a lot of fun.
Yeah.
A lot of talking.
About chickens.
Yes.
What we do all the time.
Yeah. We call literally all the time. Oh, before we end it, how did we meet? Do you want to explain that?
Well, of course, over chickens.
Uh-huh.
Okay. So, it's actually over Polish, too.
Yeah.
You know, we had gotten a Polish rooster, and I thought I had other chickens, because I was still new at this, and I had other chickens that were like 2 weeks older, and we thought, we'll just put it together, and I was going to start my breeding, and I specifically bought a Polish rooster,
mm-hmm.
and I thought it would be okay with 2 week older as Orpingtons, and it would be fine, and they were so much bigger, and they ended up stomping and ended up killing it. Not on purpose, but they're just bigger, and chickens just kind of go wherever.
Yeah.
And so I went to go get... the store actually replaced it, believe it or not. They replaced it, and they had another rooster. And I thought, this time I'm going to get chicks. Little chicks that are its age, and so this won't happen again. And I'm looking, I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't want to buy 6. I don't want to go. And I saw your post that you had chicks. And I didn't really care what they were. You were only a couple bucks, I think. It was like $3. I'm like, okay, I was actually leaving on vacation time, and I messaged you, and I'm like, I just need 2 chicks. Can I get 2 chicks from you? And you're like, and I said, and here's the thing, you got to hold them for me.
That is where the problem came in, because I have been going through a big phase of people being absolute jerks to me, which I think our next podcast is going to be about all the fun experiences we've had with chicken people.
Selling and buying.
Yes. But I was having a ton of bad experiences. Like, I would have people come and then leave. Like, and not... I've had birds ready on the porch, and they'd leave.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy, the type of stuff.
I had that.
But I was like, I'm not holding chicks for some random lady I don't even know. I didn't even know if you were on vacation or not.
Yes, I know, because people will say, yes, I'm in the hospital. Keep coming.
Yes, it's crazy. I've had like 4 people tell me their car broke down.
Yeah. Hey, I had my car break down on the way of getting chickens before.
I know.
It does happen, but
it's like such a big excuse. I've had 4 or 5 people say their car broke down. I'm like, how many people's cars break down on the way over to my house?
But what did I literally do? I went and got another vehicle and went anyways. But
yes.
It does happen, things like that, but a lot of people. But I asked you, and I'm like, I totally get it. If you don't hold, because I don't hold either. And, or I try not to unless, because I've sworn up and down somebody was coming and then they didn't show.
Yes.
And I said, if you don't hold it, I that's fine. I understand. But you're like, okay, I'll hold them.
Yeah, because my mom actually was like, I just feel it'll be okay, Kyle. It'll be okay. Just hold these chicks. And I was like, okay, I guess, since I have to hold them for now more days and I can't sell them or whatever. Because I was kind of aggravated at first, because I was already aggravated at the whole situation that was happening around me. And then I had to hold these chicks extra days. And I was like, if she doesn't show up, this is going to be like the worst.
Yeah, because I only needed 2.
Yeah.
It's one thing. So, but I did. I came back from Tennessee. I went and picked up the rooster, and then I came here with my kids to get the 2 chicks. And then 2 hours went by, and I think we had held all your chickens and saw all your coops, and my kids were playing with your nieces and holding all the chicks, and that was it. That's how we met.
And then, it just grew from there.
Yeah.
And now we got a podcast.
I know, and now we got your mom.
Yes. We pulled people in.
Yes. Into the chicken thing. And that was, and then I think it's because we were both on our chicken journey about the same amount of time. Yeah. Because we had been both, not even maybe a year, both of us.
We must have started very similar times.
Yeah. COVID. After that, kind of everybody. I wonder how many people Well, I mean, it wasn't during, but it was after. And we had both started about the same time. So we were both still learning. I think you might have known, because you were into genetics, you knew a little bit more. But we both were about at the same place in our journey with chickens. And then that was it. So we met over chickens.
Yep, that's pretty much.
But I've made a lot of friends over chickens. So most of my friends have chickens.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's how we met.
But anyway, that is our podcast for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.